Welcome to Rick's Corner, brought to you by Old School Labs, the brand I trust and the only one I put my name to. Use my code DRASIN12 on the link below.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. The man, the myth, the legend. Now on with the show.
Welcome to Rick's Corner Live. I have a few subjects I want to talk about today because I think they're of interest and some of you can identify them, maybe some of you won't. But in case you notice this thing on the side of my head over here, be careful when you go in the sun because you need to use sunblock. I have gone for years and I ended up getting skin cancer. That's one of them. And then there's another one over here and here, but they take them off the skin doctor and then I'm good to go. It's just like it's a pain in the butt, and it comes from laying in the sun. And I enjoy the sun, and that's the sad part because I like to feel comfortable and tan, and of course it charges your battery, but there's a lot of side effects to it as well. And I have a new mic, which I really, really like. So anyway, what I want to talk about is a lot of you guys will relate to this. I don't know if you women will, but some of you will, because a lot of you women train harder than the men do. In fact, you do train harder than the men do. But do you remember when you were younger and you had your first set of weights in your backyard and you bought them at Sears or wherever, or a garage sale, whatever, and you started working out and you weren't quite sure what to do, but you did some curls and you did some presses and some bench presses maybe, or whatever you could find, and the dumbbells you had to put together with the little locks on them and take the locks off and change the plates, which is a pain in the ass. And the bars weren't real long, but they were stiff and they didn't want to give you any spring when you would do your benches. Well, that's where we all started. We all started with something like that back in those days. Now today, it's, if you're young, you go to a gym, because we didn't have gyms then. When we had them, but I never went. So what I'm saying is, I remember hitting the weights for the first time, not knowing really what to expect. I just know I got sore. And I didn't know how many reps and how many sets. I just did what I thought was capable. And then I read in a book, because I have an old collection of bodybuilding magazines back to 1940s. With Steve Reeves and all the guys back in the day, and they all said, no, 3 times a week, 3 sets, 3 exercises, 3 sets each. So pretty much that's what I did. I didn't have incline press, and I had a barbecue bench for a bench. I didn't have a dumbbell rack there. I didn't have pull downs. I did a T-bar thing I made. But it all got me into somewhat of passable shape for the time being. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to pursue this and do something different, I need to go to a gym. So I went to a YMCA, and it was upstairs, and it was a mess. Nobody took care of it. The weights were broken. The pull-down machine was frayed on the cable. The big bar was bent. The squat rack was kind of a little unstable. But I kind of fixed it up a bit for me, and I had a couple other guys training there, and we trained, and we enjoyed what we did, and we got good workouts. But I know I got my first 300-pound bench press there on this really lousy, stiff, bent bar. I mean, it was like almost U-shaped, but I did make it happen. And then as I graduated and went to another gym, I found better equipment, and then to another gym and I found better equipment, and I learned more as I went along. I still didn't know much about diet. I just heard that you had to eat a lot of meat and drink a lot of milk, which I did. So, so somebody said, how much milk did you drink back then? I said, like 3 quarts a day. They said, so why'd you stop? I said, because my mom told me her breasts were getting sore. I'm just kidding. I had to say that. Anyway, I would train, and I made sure I ate plenty of food, and I started to gain. I was 145 pounds, and I didn't eat much at school. I had a small lunch, maybe with an orange juice bar. They make those little popsicles, and I wanted to keep my weight down and slim. So 145, 148 was about it. Then I started to gain. I was up to 150, 155 for quite a while, then over the 160 to 170. 170 stayed for quite a while, and then I got up to 190 to 202. And I thought, wow, I really did put on some muscle. And it was the weight training. I mean, that's the only thing that would have done it. So I learned all I could. I read all I could. I talked to people who were champions back then, and I learned from them what works and what doesn't. But what I found out what really works and what doesn't is what works for you. You can't do something somebody else does and expect the same results, because it just doesn't work. Some guy might do 25 sets per body part and tremendous growth, and you'll do them and you'll get smaller. It shrivels up the muscle. You might eat steak and eggs and get in good shape, and he'll eat hamburgers, fries, and a shake and get in shape. I had friends like that too that were in top shape eating like that. It depends on your metabolism and how you process things when you do them. So what I wanted to say was I recently, I'm not recently, but I always train hard. I train, and people say it's like really hard. I do 15 sets a body part. So today, for example, I did back. I did seated cables with a double handle, and then I did one arms for stretching, and then I did straight arm pull downs. So I do 5 sets each, probably 12 sets. Oh no, 12 reps. About 12 reps. And I do them very slow. Now, I was telling somebody I used to use 150 pounds on that cable. I mean, I was pulling a heavy weight. And then I hurt my shoulder, and I thought, well, I don't need to do it. So I dropped it down to 60 pounds, 70 pounds tops, maybe, 70, 60 pounds. And I do like 12 reps, strict, slow, back and forth for 5 sets. I got so sore that I could hardly move because I did them right, and I did them with full concentration, and I used a lighter weight that really worked the muscle. I learned from Rich Piana that it doesn't take a lot of weight. He would come in and do triceps with 15-pound dumbbells. And I said, that works? He says, it works. Do it right, it works. You don't have to use the 60s and the 70s like we used to do. I always thought I had to because I always got good size out of it. So I think if you're going to the gym, and I know that you girls who lift heavy weights, I've seen of you doing heavy squats and presses. It's so admirable to see you doing that because most time women don't, but that's amazing. It just amazes me how strong you are. The sets and the reps, make them count. You have to make every rep count like it's the last one you'll ever do. Now, should you go to fail? No. Someone said, should I go to fail every workout? I don't think so. I think going to failure actually kills your body and it doesn't recover as quick as it should because you've beat it down too hard. And I never used to think that way because, and I don't say that drugs are the answer either because people say, well, if you take drugs, you can do that. Well, that's not necessarily the case. The thing is you need rest. When I used to train at the beach, down here at Steve Davis's gym, I'd drive away from the gym and fall asleep at stoplights. I was exhausted. I was training for an hour and a half to 2 hours, like really, really hard and heavy weights up to the 150-pound dumbbell inclines. And it didn't feel hard for me at the time, but it did tire me out. So I made good progress, and I was dieting really hard, and it's hard to diet real hard and train hard and have energy because you're kind of running out of fuel. So I switched around in my life nowadays to know that if I go to the gym, I'll pick a body part, maybe 2. But like I said, I did back today. Then I did 200 leg raises for my lower abs. And then I did stretching from my hamstrings and my quads and then rode the bike for 15 minutes. That's a pretty good workout. The other day I did chest. I did the same thing. I did inclines, straight flat bench pressing, and then pec deck. 5 sets each, 15 sets. It goes quick. I wait, like I say, 5 or 10 seconds in between sets. I don't mess around. I don't sit and talk, and I don't take my phone with me like some of you do. I don't think it's necessary to have it there by my side when I'm working out. So I wanted to mention that. I also want to mention that I eat before I go to train. I have my egg whites, which is a liquid egg white, but I eat the whole eggs normally. And then I have oatmeal with banana, and then I go to the gym, my pre-workout drink and all that. And then afterwards, I make sure I have a good hearty lunch of eggs and cottage cheese and whatever I feel for the day. That could be a tuna salad. It doesn't have to be anything, chicken breast, whatever. But you got to have your body full of fuel to keep it operating, get those cells building, and keep your strength up. What supplements am I on now? Oh, I'm taking all the old school lab supplements like the amino acids and their Bolt is really good. It has MCT oil and oh my God, there's so much that they have that I take and I definitely feel good on it. I think it really gets me fired up. But that's part of what I do. That's part of what I eat. I was talking about something here when I read that thing. I just think that 1 or 2 body parts is fine. I don't need to do 3 or 4. I don't need to do, like hours and hours in the gym of a lot of weight. I see people doing this. I see some of the younger guys coming in and lifting all this weight on the leg press and have a guy standing on the machine. You know what? It doesn't do anything for you. They had thin legs. Their legs weren't developed. They didn't make them any bigger. It might give you strength in the leg press, but that's the only thing that's going to give you strength in. If you want good legs, and this is what you're looking for, just to name a body part, then you've got to work the muscle and you have to isolate it. You have to isolate it with leg extensions and you have to isolate it with hamstrings. And then I think that squats are number 1 if you can do them. If you have a bad back or bad knees, then don't do them. But if you're going to do them, you don't have to go heavy. Do 15 reps and go lighter. Or you can squat on the Smith machine. That's also good. But leg press to me, I got strong, but it never developed my thighs. It just didn't hit where I wanted. It was hit me around the knees. So you just take exercises that work for you and you can do that. Now, The other thing I wanted to mention was I had a blood test 2 days ago. I told you guys I had a little problem in my heart. And they put me on some stuff I saw on TV called Entresto. Entresto actually builds your heart up and increases the ejection fraction pump, which I was down to 29%, and opens up the arteries. So I told my cardiologist I wanted to try it, and he says, well, I don't think you really need it. This is 2 months ago. And I said, well, let's try it. Maybe it'll help what I have. He said, okay. So I went back in yesterday, and he says, you know what? I've been reading up on that pill, and it does work. And I'm glad I gave it to you. I said, because you need to listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. I had what they call it a BNP. It's a big, long title. So when your heart gets weakened and it gets loose and it overexpands, it can go up to the 500 points. And the 500 means that you're going to have a heart attack. And I was up to 500. Since I've been on the pills, it's dropped to 200. So it's basically been repairing my heart, which I'm thrilled about. So when I left the doctor and he said, I just want you to go take a blood test, urine test, and I'll give you the results and we'll go from there. And you come back in 2 months, we'll do an echogram on the arteries and on your carotid artery and then see how the blood flow is, which he says, I think it's going to be fine. Well, I asked him, I said to him, I said, I don't know if you guys feel this way or not, I'm tired all the time. I wake up tired. I get fired up. I go to the gym. I train hard. By the time I leave, I go to Starbucks to get a coffee and sit down. I can literally fall asleep for like a half hour sitting in a chair. There's got to be a reason. I said, I'm just completely, totally fatigued. And I've never felt like this. I said, do you think it's my heart medication? Do you think it's anything else I'm taking? Or do you think I'm just getting old? We know that's not the case. So he said, I don't know. He says, it could be the medication, but take it at night. You're going to go to sleep anyway. All right. Point I'm getting to is my test came back this morning and I looked down there at my thyroid. And my thyroid, I've been on it for about a couple of years at 30 grams a day. He says, your thyroid's very low, double it to 60. That's why I am so tired, because it was like hypothyroid, not hyperthyroid. There's a difference. Hyper means you're, as you are, you're hyper-anxiety. Hypo means you're getting lethargic and tired and it's wearing you down. And it also can increase your body weight, which I don't really notice that much. So I took 2 this morning and I went to the gym and I felt so good and I felt fired up and I felt this is going to work. I know it takes longer than 1 day to set in, but I did feel a definite difference. So my suggestion is to you, all of you out there, at any age, do a regular visit to your doctor and get a blood panel done. Make sure you have everything checked, that everything's in order, because so many people can go years and not do it, and then all of a sudden they come back and they say, oh my God, did you know? I didn't know I have high cholesterol and I have high blood pressure and I got to go on medications. You could have stopped it in the beginning. And so it's good to have it checked out. I think I have Alan, you made a shake out of Bob Hoffman's protein. That stuff was crap. Oh my God, that was crap. And they sold it. It was cheap. So anyway, I just wanted to pass this along. I think it's important and to take care of your body and yourself. And don't forget to take care of your skin, because that's the largest organ in the body and that's what covers your muscle and makes it look good. So beware of sun and skin cancer and these little marks like I have on my face. I look like I've been beat up every night. But that goes with the territory, I guess. All right, guys, thank you for watching. And I have more topics coming up later. And if you ever have any questions, email, tell me what you want to know. And we'll talk about it on here. Okay? All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoyed the video brought to you by Old School Labs. Use my discount code DRASIN12 on the link below at oldschoollabs.com.
Hey everyone, now you can have the Gold's Gym logo drawn by me, the artist Rick Drasin, personalized and made out to you and signed by me to frame and put on your gym wall or wherever you see fit to do so. It's a piece of bodybuilding history. It will never be duplicated again. It's the largest selling icon t-shirt logo in the world, and I'm the guy that drew it, and I will draw it for you. Just go to my website, rickdrasin.com, and order there. You can pay through PayPal and it'll be sent out right away. And be sure to watch Rick's Corner for all the videos on bodybuilding, nutrition, fitness, pro wrestling, and anything that suits your interest as far as getting physically fit and being the best you can be from the golden era of bodybuilding.
Rick Drasin. He's the equalizer, baby. See you next time.